Hello.
Yeah, there's nothing you know. If there's anything in store for you, the devil has made sure you drink a lot and you chase after women. As he empowers the girl child, and then you meet this girl who's over-empowered and has to stay with a man who is not empowered. They cannot even reason together. Very hard to stay with her. Very hard. What is the devil doing? Ruining the foundation. Strengthening the walls when the foundation.
On that, if you allow me. And if you don't, it's your problem. So this is what I think, that marriage with the uneducated people. By this, I'm pretty sure people are talking about those people in Ushago and things like that. I'd love to say one thing. First of all, the community setup. But Ushago, there is no thought of divorce as the first thing. Mostly it's death. So with them, when the husband is abusive or when he cheats, and let's say when the wife also does the same, it can happen on both spectrums. um, most of the times they go and solve the issues with the uncles and all that before they think of divorce. Now if the marriage has problems, be it physical abuse, be it infidelity, be whatever it is, I believe that for them they do not believe in divorce. And we can see it even with our parents, educated as someone, they still stayed with our nini, still stayed with their spouses to the end, despite infidelity, despite violence. So I cannot really say it's about education. I will say it's more about exposure, because people in the past, they were more inclined to follow the tradition, and for us, we are exposed to life, and we are exposed to knowing that our choices and whatever, we can choose what we want. So let's go to the comment section and see what people say. The first comment comes from Darius Kipkorir, where he says, education comes with ego and exposure to absurd Western cultures. Now, yes, I will say that this is the main thing for me, as my thought. It's exposure to, and if you say Western culture, fine, it's true, because we've seen a high rise of people promoting, or rather not promoting, a high surge of people finding divorce as the easy way out when a marriage has a problem. People are not willing to fix their marriages. So if you don't feel, sometimes it's even just feelings. I feel like I don't love him anymore. But we all know that that excitement that we usually have when you're first dating someone, it doesn't last forever. Marriage is commitment. And if you're not willing to commit, it's going to be problems. So the other comment was, I have seen both marriages of educated and uneducated people survive from a teenager, now adult. What I have learned so far is that character is what keeps marriage to stand. Careers don't affect marriages at all. It's only the personality of an individual. True, character keeps a marriage, but also the society is shaping our character. So if you are constantly exposed to a society which does not promote staying in marriage, promotes fighting for divorce at the slightest problem, then it shapes your character. Educated people look at marriage as a commercial going concern. Uneducated look at it as a holy union meant for procreation. Now, true, I will say educated people, not all of them. I can say there are some people who go into marriage educated as well, not really for the commercial concern. But I know most people on this perspective are going to say that ladies are trapping men so that they can get child support. But some people go into marriages with good intention, but they still fail. Wale hawajasoma huelewa kuwa hawajui mengi, and they are okay with that. Pia wako tayari to learn. Wasomi wanajua yote. Unasikia mwanaume anasema anajua what women want and vice versa. Yani hawataki kuambiwa, sio ama sivyo ama wamekosea. Kazi yeye ndiye advisor mkuu nyumbani, so they're saying that watu wamesoma wapendi kuambiwa. Education, marriage counselor who was counselor for marriage last year. People that live together, now settling down with my woman. I'm going to the wedding reception now. Held together by make sure that they will never have peace. You know, the couple wants to dance inside, generator will off. They want to have their first dance, generator will be shocking guests because I will make sure I go to illegal connection man was shiny. End the relationship. Okay, someone that paid at 200 level to 500 level school fee, you know, this perspective. They would never. I had a this thing called love counts me out of it. Ladies are going to be dragged through the mud on this one. Just wish me the best, guys. Because likely can know me. Because I will come out and say my full chest. I'm the one scattering the party. Who likely can know me. Wish me the best. Okay, when you settle down, a marriage counselor who was counselor for a marriage last year. Now he's settling down with my woman. I'm going to the wedding reception now. I'll make sure that they will never have peace. The couple wants to dance inside, generator will off. Don't marry someone who's going to stress you out. Simple, uneducated is a homemaker, submissive, educated is feminism 24/7. Hope you now know the difference as you prepare kuita watu kukata keki. There was a lot of confusion in that comment. The how educated kila mtu akona kiburi, ego was, of which I will say that's the thing. Because once you've been so exposed and you feel like you know what should happen and you're not willing to listen to the other person, you're not willing to solve problems, instead you want it to be your way, your marriage is definitely going to stand. Marriage requires a certain humility and forbearance that most educated people don't have. Now from this thread, wait, let me read this one. I'm reading this thread and I'm surprised that some minds think it's a woman's problem. A marriage is made of two people. If it fails, the failure is on both parties and vice versa. This cannot be just because women are educated. That is just sexist, which I agree with. Marriages fail for so many reasons. In fact, most of the reasons marriages fail, especially in Africa, it's barely that those things of child support and whatnot. So those are the high percenters people up there. Most people, it's infidelity, physical abuse, and maybe irreconcilable differences, of which I will say that the main thing that people need in marriage is some level of humility, where you're willing to listen to the other person. If you have decided to choose that path, you have to know that life is no longer yours alone. You have someone else that you need to consider. Children will come, you need to consider them. So before you make decisions in marriages, and I'm saying this, I'm not married, this is just my thought, so don't come for me, but I'm like that friend who gives you advice and then says, lakini wafanya venye unataka, so that um, I'm not held responsible. But I do believe that even with friendships, it's the same thing. Once you've decided to be two people, you have to make sacrifices for it to work. Today you listen to them, tomorrow they listen to you, and if we do not give room for that compromise, marriages are never gonna work. If we come together and we are all crazy headed, marriages are never gonna work. So we need to go back to the drawing board. Educated as we are, sometimes it's better to be a fool in some area and tell yourself, okay, I'm going into marriage, I know so much about life, time for me to tone down my brain from telling me that I know a lot, and let me start this experience. Because out here there are so many counselors, so many people telling you things from their perspective. It's good to listen, but it's good to figure out your own path, because there's no one way manual into these things. You just have to figure out your own way. So when you start, just give yourself time to adjust before you decide to rule out everything. Give yourself time to learn from one another before you become unison. It takes time for people to be cohesive, even at work. So you have to give yourselves time. Have a great day. See you in the next video.